Hello everyone. Today I'll be discussing the chapter solid state. From the chapter I'll be discussing the topic of unit cell. So first of all, as you know that the solids consists of what? It consists of particles which are arranged in an ordered manner. So throughout the crystal, if you have a crystal of the solid, there will be an order which will be extending in all its dimensions, length, width and the height. So if you have to study the properties of the solid, or if you want to describe the properties of the solid, you have to know what is the arrangement of the particles in the solid. So when I say particles, it means either atoms or ions or the molecules. So first of all, let's see how do we describe the arrangement of these particles in the solid. So this arrangement of the particles is described with the help of a crystal lattice. As you can see over here, this is a crystal lattice. What is it? It is a three-dimensional arrangement of the lattice points. Three-dimensional arrangement of the lattice points. And what are the lattice points? As you can see, the dots over here, they are called the lattice points. These are the positions of the particles. These are the location of the particles. Okay. So we represent the locations with the help of the dots. And when we extend it in all the three dimensions, we get a complete crystal lattice. And then, as you can see, it will be very difficult to draw the lattice every time we talk about the crystal or we discuss the crystal. So to make it easier, what is done is you select the smallest number of lattice points. You select the smallest number of lattice points like this. Now these lattice points, if you see, if you extend it in all the three dimensions of the crystal, you get the complete crystal lattice. Okay, so these smallest number of lattice points, which when extended in all the directions, all the dimensions, it gives a complete crystal lattice, is known as a unit cell. It is just like a brick in a wall. Okay, arrangement of the unit cells will give you the complete crystal. So basically, to describe the crystal, to study the crystal, we can study the unit cell. So that gives you the properties of the whole of the crystal. So for that, what do? Is we study what type of unit cells are possible. What type of unit cells are possible? So there are two main types of unit cells. One is primitive, the other one is centered unit cell. Now, primitive unit cell means it is the most basic unit cell. It has lattice point on all the 8 corners of the cube. Lattice point on all the 8 corners of the cube. So this is called the primitive unit cell. As you can see, unit cells are characterized by its dimensions. It has 6 characteristics. It is characterized by its dimensions, that is edges A, B, and C, and it is characterized by the angles alpha, beta, and gamma. So in this unit cell, which is known as a simple cubic unit cell, all the three sides are the same, A equal to B equal to C, and all the three angles, alpha equal to beta equal to gamma, is the 90 degrees. So that is why we say it is one of the basic unit cells. Okay. Now, from these primitive unit cells, you can have similar type of 7 other systems. They are given in your books. There are 7 other types of unit cells. What is the difference in all them? In them, it is the sides may be different. A may be equal to B, may not be equal to C, or A may not be equal to B or may not be equal to C. So similarly, alpha, beta, gamma, these angles can be different, may not be equal to 90 degrees. So on that basis, you have 7 primitive type of crystal system. Now each primitive cell is can further be classified as made into a centered unit cell. Okay. For example, in primitive unit cell, you have lattice points only at the corner. In the centered unit cells, you have lattice point may be located in the center of this cube, okay, or may be located at the faces of this cube. So on that basis, you have body-centered cubic. So remember, the basic cell is primitive is the simple cubic only. From there, you get the body-centered cubic if there is a lattice point at the middle, in the middle of the cube, in the center of the cube, or if there is a lattice point at the center of each faces of the cube. Cube has 6 faces. So this is known as a face-centered cubic unit cell, FCC. Then there is an end-centered also. So end-centered means the lattice points are present only at the at the two opposite faces of the cube. Okay, so this is very rare. It is only found in orthorhombic and monoclinic crystal systems. Otherwise, you don't come across it much. So on the basis of this, if you have seven primitive unit cells, which are further um, described into, which are further can be converted into the centered unit cells. So on that basis, total number of systems that you can get is 14. There are 14 crystal system or crystal lattices, 14 types of space lattices, which are known as a Bravais lattices. Okay, so 7 of these, and each of them further can be BCC or FCC. Okay, so on that basis, you have 14 different type of crystal systems. Now, next is next is how do we, in your syllabus you only have the simple cubic BCC and FCC. Now, if you want to describe it further, you want to know its dimensions. First of all, we have to see what is the contribution of each corner particle. What is the contribution of each particle to a given unit cell? As you can see, each of these lattice points over here, let's say I take this lattice point in the middle, it is being shared by how many unit cells around it? It is being shared by 8 unit cells around it, 4 in this plane and 4 above it. Okay, so this lattice point does not belong only to this unit cell. It is being shared by all of them. So what is the contribution of this lattice point to a given unit cell, to one unit cell? Okay, so for that, contribution of each corner particle to a unit cell is 1 by 8, since it is being shared by 8 unit cells. So contribution, as you can see over here, the part which is present in one unit cell is 1 by 8. So number of corner particles in a unit cell is 8. So contribution of corner particles to the unit cell is 8 into 1 by 8, that is equal to 1. So what does it mean? That a simple cubic system has only one particle. Simple cubic unit cell has only one particle. Similarly, if you see body center unit cell has 8 corner particles. Okay, contribution of 8 corner particles is 8 into 1 by 8, that is 1. And there is one particle which is present at the center, which is entirely in this unit cell. So total contribution or total number of particles in a body centered unit cell is 2. Okay, then face centered. As you can see, in the face-centered unit cell, you have 8 corner particles. Contribution of the corner particles is 8 into 1 by 8, that is 1. Face-centered particle will be shared by 2 unit cells, half in this, half in the adjacent unit cell. So contribution to each unit cell of this face-centered particle is half. Total number of faces are 6. So total contribution is 3. So total number of particles in FCC is 4. So this you have to remember, okay, for solving the numericals. Number of particles in each of the unit cells. As we have written over here, number of particles is described by Z. So Z is equal to 1 in simple cubic, BCC 2, FCC it is 4. Now if I pick a question, this is an in-text question, question number 13 in your NCERT book. They have asked what is the contribution, how much of the corner, if you pick up any corner particle, how much of it is being shared by the neighboring particles, neighboring unit cells. Okay, so corner particles, contribution of corner particles to the neighboring unit cells will be 7 into 1 by 8. To its one unit cell, it is 1 by 8. To the rest of the unit cells, it will be 7 upon 8. Contribution of to one neighboring unit cell will be 1 by 8. Okay, so to each unit cell, it is 1 by 8. So contribution of the body centered unit cell, okay, to the neighboring cells. Contribution of body centered unit cell to the neighboring cells is 0. Why? Because body center is entirely present in this. Okay, so these are the related questions to it. So with that, I end the lesson. Bye all of you. Have a have a nice day and stay safe. Thank you.